Well, for more on the humanitarian situation, Ahmed Bayram joins us from Amman. He's the Middle East spokesperson of the Norwegian Refugee Council. Welcome to the programme. Obviously, a very alarming and worrying moment for you, given the ground operation that really seems is happening, is imminent. But we know Jan Egeland has said that Israel's military offensive in Rafah could lead to the deadliest phase of this conflict, the deadliest phase, already so terrible, so bad, with more than 34,000 people killed. What are you thinking? How are you preparing?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. It's very, very difficult to prepare at the moment. Things could go anyway now. I think with the situation on the ground, our teams have been woken up to the sound of airstrikes this morning. This is the closest that violence has reached, has come to from the areas where we operate as the Norwegian Refugee Council and many others. We're talking about a few hundred meters now away from the sound of tanks and the shelling and the airstrikes. So the situation is quite desperate. People are fleeing, and it's very hard to prepare in these circumstances. We have been saying that if a Rafah operation goes ahead, it simply means the collapse of the entire aid system. And we have seen a glimpse already this morning with the closure of the Rafah crossing, the closure of the Karam Shalom crossing. Fuel is running low amongst aid crews and teams, which will definitely cripple all of our work. So it's very hard to prepare, very hard to predict, and we hope that at some point we will get a reversal of this decision, because it's going to be a deadly, really deadly operation for everybody.
Absolutely. And the fact that Israel has now taken control of the Palestinian side of the Rafah crossing, what will that mean in practice for the aid trucks on the other side that are passing through that crossing into Rafah from Egypt?
Yes, I mean, it could mean several things. One of them is aid operations halting altogether. Of course, aid teams will need the guarantees of safety of their teams on the ground, of their people, of their colleagues. And we have seen some, tragic examples in the past of aid workers getting killed. Another scenario would be, running on the existing stocks inside Gaza until they have vanished, and they have vanished in the past. They vanish fast, in terms of water, in terms of food, in terms of shelter support. People have packed up and left already the areas closed from the operations. Again, it will mean the collapse of the aid system inevitably, because there's no alternatives really. I mean, we have been talking about this for weeks now. There is no alternative, no viable alternative to the Rafah crossing and also Karam Shalom. So again, this is a killer blow, would be a death sentence for the entire Rafah population and 1.5 million people who will find themselves with no support left, with no aid, overnight.
Very alarming indeed, Ahmed. And so many people have been told to move to the Al-Mawasi camp in Rafah. What does that look like in terms of humanitarian services available for people there? And how easy is it for them to relocate, to set up a tent? And what's there for them?
I mean, I take you back to the, original evacuation orders, or forcible transfer, I would say, orders that Israel issued a few months back and asked people to go to Al-Mawasi. Since then, Al-Mawasi, which is, for those who can't really visualize, this is a stretch of land that is around 14 kilometers long, 1 kilometer wide, which means, the size of a couple of neighborhoods. This area has hosted thousands and thousands of people. Now, with the Israeli orders, it is expected to host at least 100,000, for people who have been told to leave East Rafah and go to these areas. There's simply, it's simply not just, impossible to implement, or impossible to take place, the transfer of these people into this area. It's also just illogical, really. The area is overcrowded. It's a sandy stretch of land. It's really a beachside location. that is not made for human life there. And now, we expect thousands and thousands of people to go and find any spot they can in that piece of land. So I would say it's putting this population of Rafah that was already in a disaster mode. Now it's in catastrophe really mode. People have nowhere to go, and we hope Israel will reverse these orders and go take down the ceasefire route really.
Indeed, from disaster to catastrophe mode doesn't bear thinking about. Ahmed Bayram speaking to us there from Amman, Middle East, spokesperson of the Norwegian Refugee Council. Thank you so much for your time on this very, very worrying subject. Appreciate it.